I don't know if this is an appropriate concept to bring into here, but in terms of working on the concentration and looking at that as almost like a muscle that one must develop, um, does japa help in that case? Is that one of the can that be thought of as one of the benefits of practicing japa?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Uh,
And
I
japa,
can't even.
just to say for people who might be viewing, japa is the repetition of mantras. And you can
Yes.
speak about that.
Yes. Uh, I can't even say how beneficial and how effective the whole process of japa is. And it will be surprising for some of our audience to to know the fact that japa is one of the most important aspects of hatha yoga.
Mm. This is the first time I hear this.
The traditional hatha yoga scriptures insist more on japa than on asana.
Ah.
Ajapa Gayatri, Soham, Soham. Uh, Nama, they say, Nama. Hatha Yoga tradition, the tradition of traditional Hatha Yogis, Matsyendranath, Gorakhnath, always talk about Nama, Nama, Nama. My dearest and most revered Hatha Yogi Jnaneshwar, Sant Jnaneshwar, says Ek Tattva Nama Dhrida Dhari Man, means Ek Tattva. Take japa or remember again and again that there is one single truth. And dhrida means hold this idea within your system as much as you can. And that is your japa.
Mm.
See, because please understand that the more you live an outward life, the more it will divide you. The more you live inward life, the more it will integrate. Because external world is like this. Internal world is like this. External world is word of duality. Inner world is word of singularity. If your mind is projected outwardly, you will see variety. Nothing wrong in that. Nothing wrong in that. That whole variety is also originating from singularity. But if your indulgence is in external projection of your mind will get so confused or swayed by the diversity that you will never have the time to look at the integrity.
Mm.
That's why the yoga will say, look inward, look inward, look inward. But the mind that has been looking outward for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years is difficult. So what do? So you make the mind, you allow the mind to jump in to one vehicle, literally, to travel inwards. The easiest, the simplest vehicle of traveling in is repetitive remembrance. This repetitive remembrance is japa. So imagine this repetitive, the airplane of repetitive remembrance pierces through clouds of ignorance, clouds of thoughts, and ultimately takes you to the airport of stability or wherever you want to reach. So, interestingly, japa sadhana or nama as they say, uh, nama japa or ajapa or whatever you want to call it, is a very important practice in Hatha Yoga, and it's very important, especially for modern people like us, whose mind is swayed by external stimulus. Japa is a tool of expansion. So what we are trying to do is, first we are trying to pull the mind inward. For that you need a locus. Anything. It will be better if that point or locus is something liberating, something expansive, not something contracting. For example, a japa could also be I am good for nothing. So if I tell you, you take this japa, I am good for nothing, I am good for nothing, I am good for nothing. Repeat it 108 times a day, 10 times a day. And then you religiously, I am good for nothing, I am good for nothing, I am good for nothing. What happens? After 6 months, you live this belief that I am good for nothing. Everything that you manifest around you is good for nothing. Because you have started believing that you are good for nothing. So the japas are always expansive. So there are 2 or 3 variables or aspects to japa sadhana. Number 1, to pull the mind in. Why? Because at any given moment the mind is going outside. So via the japa, you first bring the mind in. Now you don't just bring the mind in, but you bring it in, but also expand it by feeding it or flushing the mind with something positive. Now what is that positive? It could be an affirmation. It doesn't always necessarily have to be some mantra or some esoteric syllables or something that you don't know of. In fact, if you don't know of it, it will never work. That's why Patanjali, when he describes japa, he says, Tad japa tada artha bhavana. Means the japa should be in a way such that there is artha and bhavana. Artha means the chanter of the japa knows the meaning, realizes the essence, and bhavana means there is some heart, there's some emotion to it, there's some love to it, there's some little enjoyment to it. Otherwise it's dry. So, and then what happens is, over repeated time, the mind is pulled in, mind is expanded. Mind is pulled in, expanded, pulled in, expanded. So the mind really expands. The perspective expands. So whatever you've chanted, so if you have chanted to yourself, I'm safe and secure, I'm safe and secure, I'm safe and secure, and you chant this 10,000 times a day to yourself, I'm safe and secure, a time comes when you start believing it. And then a time comes you start living it. You live, I am safe and secure. Because now your mind, or even from the brain point of view, your brain has been shifted from being primarily amygdala-centric, the fear-centric brain, to something more. Perhaps working from the PFC or prefrontal cortex, as they would say. So japa sadhana is, I think for us, for modern people, it's amazing.